work on gender-based violence. Who does not work on gender-based violence here? So, do you collect information in your organization? You don't collect information, right?
A participatory training workshop designed to train civil society actors in the Northwest region and strengthen their capacity on data collection technique has taken place in the Northwest regional capital, Bamenda. The training workshop organized recently by FOWECCAM Cameroon with the aim of training 20 civil society leaders in the region on data collection and support them to collect and furnish the organization with data on violence against women and girls. Several topics were handled during the workshop, including the importance of data in projects, type of data, when data needs to be collected, as well as sampling approach, amongst others. During the workshop, participants were given the opportunity to table their worries.
What we have been experiencing, like from the identification of the organizations represented, it speaks of your sampling and it's actually what is experienced. But I want to also share with us that since we are being trained on data collection, to go back and start implementing, there is something we need to take into consideration to create a change as far as valuing our enumerators is concerned. If we notice in Cameroon, I have lived the experience of being a data collector on the field. They don't value enumerators. And they don't also value the aspect of time as far as data collection is concerned. Like last week, Saturday, I resigned from an opportunity to collect data in Ndu when I was supposed to go to Ndu on Saturday to start collecting data on Saturday and Sunday to present the data on Monday. And I was expected to leave Bamenda on Saturday. And I asked, how possible is that? Which means the ones that indirectly telling me that I should go and fake data and give to them. And I told them I don't do such work. And that is to tell us that they don't value the reliability and the validity of information or data that is collected in Cameroon. And this is data that is supposed to be used by the World Health Organization and to tell even us as civil society organization. So it is very important that if we are taking this training, we should go back and start creating change in the various areas that we are going to. If you are an enumerator and you are not valued, tell them to write to their face.
On the different topics, an appropriate response were given by the facilitators. Speaking to Star TV, one of the facilitators explained why they organized the workshop.
This was based on some study that we did. For example, if you are a woman and your husband dies, because we are doing this training for data collection process, we want to build capacities of civil society organizations who work with gender-based violence issues to be able to collect reliable and valid data. To be able to get reliable and valid data, it starts even at the level of deciding who you want to get information from. We call them respondents or we call them participants. So there are certain data collection methods, processes that require to work with a sample of the population, because you can't go talking to every woman, every vulnerable woman, every vulnerable person in the population and to get information from them. So you need to bring out a sample that is representative of that population, so that at the end of your work, you should be able to make generalizations about the population. For example, if I want to say that 50% of women in the Northwest region are aware of the various forms of gender-based violence, I will definitely not talk to every woman, but I will pick out a sample of women who are representative of the population of women in the Northwest region, and I will be able to generalize the results at the end of the day of every woman in the population. So that is how relevant sampling is. And of course, sampling is just one of the strategies you put in place when you are about to collect data, to prepare to collect data. The most important thing is you want them to have reliable and valid data, like I just told you, because if you have to make informed decisions on gender-based violence, if you want to make gender-based violence in the Northwest and Southwest, or violence against women and girls, to make it history, we need to also have reliable and valid data that we will use to inform decisions on what programs, what strategies that we need to put in place to fight violence against women and girls at all levels in the country.
The peculiarity of the Northwest and Southwest regions in this workshop.
Okay, we know that we are in a crisis context, and we know that in every humanitarian context, in every humanitarian crisis context, gender-based violence heightens. So we don't want to leave that part out of our humanitarian response. So it is very important that we also allow organizations working with survivors of gender-based violence, survivors of violence against women and girls, we lead them through the process of collecting information that will guide them throughout this data collection process. So at this moment, it is just peculiar because as any other humanitarian context in the world, gender-based violence is always increases. Even if the Northwest and Southwest would have been not very relevant in the past 3-4 years, it has become relevant because of the context in which we are in. It doesn't mean that gender-based violence is only existing in Northwest and Southwest in Cameroon. It is throughout the country, right to the north, right to the north region and to the western region and to the northwest region. We have forms and acts of gender violence that are occurring, but there are different acts and forms of gender-based violence that are predominant in certain regions for certain reasons. And of course, you know that strategies to address violence against women and girls or gender-based violence should be tailored based on the context. So that's how relevant it is.
Okay.
The importance of data cannot be underestimated in the humanitarian and development work that we are doing. And we know the main actors in development work and in humanitarian aid are usually civil society organizations. The data that they collect is what informs the interventions that take place in the communities. If we don't get the best kind of data that is needed, it means that our interventions may not be the best. It may not impact the communities the way funders and other interested parties or stakeholders are expecting that it should be. So for us to ensure that the kind of data that we're collecting from the field that we're getting has to come from people who have the appropriate skills. First of all, maybe I should indicate that last year we had done a baseline study and we have spoken to a number of civil society organizations, both in the Northwest and the Southwest, and we found that a lot of civil society organizations do not have the necessary skills in data collection and recording. And so as follow-up, FIDA thought that this organization should be empowered by giving them the appropriate skills through a training workshop, which we've had today.
With the data collected so far, has it been making any impact on the communities?
Like we said earlier, there are a lot of people having their own separate kind of data. When we're saying whether it's had impact in the community, yes, it could have had, depending on who is using the data. Because you can collect data, and if you don't bring it out there for people to use and maybe inform their actions in the community, you'll not be able to know whether it's creating impact in the community. So it just depends on what data is in question here and who is using it, the resources that have been put in place to implement or to use this data to impact on the lives of the community members.
Please, in Pidgin. So what? Just wait. If you're in Pidgin, what is the importance of this data collection to this project? The importance of the data collection to this project.
Well, like I said earlier, data collection cannot be overemphasized. Data is what makes the development work easy. Let me put it that way. Data is what helps people who are putting the money for community development to feel justified that they are putting their money in something that is affecting the people. Who these people are. You can't just come and speak in the air. We are working with these people. You should be able to have data to back, to justify that, all right, if I'm taking your money, these are the people that are going to be affected. And how do you do that? You prove the data. You bring the data and show that these are the people. Data boils down to numbers most of the time. And that is what funders are looking for. Numbers.
At the end of the workshop, participants expressed satisfaction on the training.
Oh, thank you very much. My name's Adamba. I'm the Executive Director of Mother of Hope Cameroon, and it's been a pleasure for me to be a participant in this seminar, and which has been very, very enriching on data collection. And I think it's a vital space for us all as civil society to be able to be educated on such tools, because we need it to be able to build the statistics that we carry out in our day-to-day work. In the course of the training, there are lots of things which I gathered. I gathered that data needs to be valid and reliable. It has to be quantitative, qualitative, and there must be a method in which you use to carry out your sampling and to also carry out whatever information you need to carry. And I also learned that data is life. Without data, we won't be able to have information that will effectuate change, either in the homes, in the communities, as policy. And we need to be able to testify and also give reasons why we should be able to carry out the campaigns or the advocacy work that we're carrying, and data comes in to supplement all that gaps. I think that's what I've learned, and I really want to thank FIDA and its partners very much for this support, because it's been enriching, and we are going back ready to incorporate it in our work, which is a basic tool for us to be able to stand up as GBV activists.
Being an NGO practicing in one of the crisis striking regions, so what are some of the challenges you face in being able to identify these GBVs?
The very first thing is trust. The informant or the people giving you information don't trust you, because we live in a fragile setting. So as an organization, we lack, first of all, financial support to be able to carry out lots of legal services, to be able to effectuate certain laws in place, because it wouldn't even be possible. Secondly, we can't move into the hard and difficult areas because we are afraid to be caught. And so most of the cases of victims really cannot be able to reach to us. But the victims that reach to us, we try to maybe send them to the referral centers, because we don't have the capacity to be able to.
I am called Tebi Honorine, and I'm the coordinator of Sustainable Women's Organization. And today I have really been impacted with knowledge on data collection, and most especially the importance of valid and reliable data. I have lived experience where I have been engaged in so many data collection in the northwest region of Cameroon under many other institutions, and I want to say that today I have learned one important thing, which is about valuing enumerators. Most of the times we don't value the enumerators that we send to the field as organizations, as institutions. But I have noticed that the reliability and validity of our data lies in the hands of enumerators. And so I call on everybody that is going to be engaged as far as data collection is concerned to put enumerators as the first persons who are so valued as far as the whole data collection process is concerned. And also to say that today I have learned that preparing the process to collect data is more important than the collection itself, because when you don't have a good methodology, when you don't have a good sample population, you won't be able to have accurate data. So today, really, I want to appreciate FIDA for this training that they've given to us. I have never really taken a formal training on data collection like I have done today, like I have had today. So I want to really appreciate FIDA for this training, and to say that it is coming at a very right time, when by June, mid-June, I'll be also carrying out data collection on the field, and that really highlights so many things I need to take into consideration in order to start the process.
Okay.
All right, I'll say it is very challenging for a data collector on a field like an enumerator, because one, within the context of Bamenda, we know the crisis we are into, and to get into so many remote communities, you might be kidnapped, you might be at ransom, and us as data collectors sent to the field, they hardly take into consideration these challenges. And when you are going to the field, your life is at stake. but they don't really take into consideration these risky aspects of it. So it is challenging, first of all, to get to those remote areas, and then having the confidence of the respondent is also another problem, because they don't know who is who nowadays in the region. So it's really difficult to get the confidentiality of interviewers, and even the safety of you who is the interviewer, who is an enumerator.
Thank you very much. My name is Atigi Samuel. I'm from the Mandela Voluntary Foundation with headquarters in upstate of Bamenda 1. I think that being a participant for this workshop data collection, I have built my knowledge, I have increased my existing knowledge on data collection and data enumeration, because most of the times we go to the field without really knowing what to do. Sometimes you go and you start taking an interview without proper identification and without asking the person that is giving you the information his or her consent. But now I have learned that it's a primordial key that when we go out like that, we have to introduce ourselves and make sure we present the necessary documentation for the persons to know that we are coming from this organization and we are taking this information to use it for this and that purpose. So that is what I've been able to learn.